Welcome back. Well, plenty of stocks to discuss, and we'll get an analyst to talk about Vedanta Limited. But for the time being, let's ask Nishal Maheshwari, CEO, Institutional Equities and Advisory at Centrum Broking, who joins us. Hi, Nishal. Good morning. Your quick take on Vedanta Limited. It doesn't resolve things. It just gives them an option. What do you think about it?
Morning, Nigel. I think it's a bit of a confusion, actually. I don't know exactly what the company wants to do. If you go back into history, basically, they have been consolidating everything into a single company, and now they want to demerge it. So, and if I look at it on a total basis, basically, they have got around 1 lakh crore of debt, basically, between the Vedanta Limited and Vedanta Resources. And you have to understand there is no business in Vedanta Resources. It's just a holding company. And the EBITDA is something like 35,000 crores of Vedanta Limited. So you are anyway pretty stretched at 3:1 for the debt servicing. So let's hope some value is unlocked, but we do not see much value getting unlocked from here. So it's a tough one.
Vedanta, okay. Let's see if the street feels any excitement around this huge demerger with now 6 entities instead of 1. Nishal, good morning. Let's talk about cement. We have decent numbers. I mean, Nigel was just telling us about Ultratech, but overall, even the macro data that came out, core sector data, cement is really firing away. How would you play it if you would? What are the stocks that you would prefer?
Morning, Surbi. I think it's a bit of expected. Basically, we are expecting around 12 to 13% kind of volume growth for the year. And the second quarter obviously is a weak quarter, but this time, given that the rainfall was not very strong, we are seeing even the second quarter numbers are stronger. So I believe basically most of the analysts on the street are going to upgrade their volume guidance. And we are going to see a strong growth coming in as far as this current year is concerned. What we have to see is recently there has been some price hikes which have been taken, especially on the eastern side, whether they are sustainable or not. Our first analysis says basically that there is not much volume which has been taking off at those higher prices. So the EBITDA margins may not improve as much as what the analysts are projecting. So you might see some cuts in the EBITDA levels, but volumes may be higher. So overall, the profitability will be higher for the cement. Our top picks in the large cap remains to be Ultratech, and in the mid cap we remain buyers on Birla Corp.
Okay. Nishal, good morning. Any thoughts on the big mover? I mean, a few big movers from last week. Navin Fluorine, Friday to Friday ended almost 16% lower. There was, of course, that announcement of the CEO stepping away, and that market did not like very much. Berger Paints is the other one, which sold off 15% again last week, Friday to Friday. And there was Voltamp Transformers. There was a large block which happened in the early half of last week. First dilution, I think, the stock's down 10%. Any opportunities here? Navin, Berger and Voltamp.
Morning, Prashant. We only cover one of the stocks, which is Navin. Actually, the other two I will not be able to comment much because we don't cover them. So, but in case of Navin, I think this was pretty unexpected. The outgoing CEO has been able to scale up, has been able to actually give a very strong guidance also, and he was the person basically who had actually ramped up the whole capex, and the outlook he was guiding very strongly. So we were also expecting like 25% kind of a top line growth in the next 2 years. Now I think that all has so that is all up in the air for the moment, but we believe basically it's a large corporate. They will find the person. So I think at the moment there is some uncertainty around who's going to step in. The promoter has stepped in for the moment, but I think there might be some bit of more downside, but these are good prices to start nibbling away at this stock.
Almost rounding up at 9 a.m. So we'll start getting our pre-opening rates in just a minute. As we wait by for that, let's take in a couple more questions with Nishal as well. Nishal, we had business updates coming in from 2 banks over the weekend, Federal as well as IndusInd, and the numbers look good. I mean, on the growth side, loan growth of I think 4.5% for IndusInd Bank and almost 5% for Federal. decent rise, single-digit rise in deposits as well. How do you view both of these stocks?
So, Surbi, I think it is as expected, basically. Credit growth has been strong, and we are seeing that. The question is basically how much NIMS compression is going to happen. I think that is also most of the market expected. If it is more than what market is expecting, and I fear that, then you might see corrections continue to happen in the banks. But otherwise, I think on the top line growth, doesn't seem to be any concern for the moment. They are doing pretty well. So, as expected.
And if I could just ask you, Nishchal, what is your pecking order of preference? If I were to ask you about your top 3 bank stocks, which would they be? And would you throw in any tier 2 or mid-cap bank names there?
So the larger ones are quite obvious, as you know. Basically, we continue to prefer the private sector. So ICICI, HDFC in that order. And then then in the mid caps, we have a new name basically, which we are quite excited about at the moment, is RBL Bank. We are seeing continuously improvements happening. We have been now tracking it, soft tracking basically. We just initiated last quarter, but we have been soft tracking it for now almost 3 quarters. The management has been delivering whatever they have been talking. So we are quite positive, and our target price there is 330. So a decent upside from here.
Yeah, quite a big upside from these levels, Nishchal, and I think it's an anti-consensus call actually, but you're quite bullish out there. And it's worked quite well actually. Out of nowhere, the stocks recovered. Nishchal, what about Coal India? Valuation was cheap. Now there's talk of, maybe the world is underinvested in coal. And that's what could give some stability to Coal India's pricing. What's your view on the stock at around 295 rupees?
So at these prices, Nigel, I believe basically it's a hold for us. I think the stock has done very well. There has been good demand in the market basically, and we continue to believe that the prices, Coal India will keep on getting good prices, both in the auctions as well as the other prices anyway fixed. So on the auction side, we continue to believe they are going to keep on getting better prices. But at these valuations, I think more or less quite a lot is priced in. So at these prices, we have a hold on the stock.
Initial quick word on public sector banks, if you have a view. The month of September has been fantastic. PNB and Union Bank and Bank of India, we're talking between 25 and 30% moves in the last 1 month. What's your sense here?
So, Prashant, for the moment, we do not have any coverage on the public sector banks, basically, except for SBI, obviously. But we are now looking at more, and I think this is now looking more of a strategic upside rather than actually just being a more of a trading bet. So that's why we are evaluating again. And I think 2 banks we have sort of zeroed down. I think Bank of Baroda is one of them. Good ROA with a very decent pricing, so more than 1% ROA and closer to one-time book. And the second one, which we are looking at, is quasi PSU, is Karnataka Bank, around 1.4, 1.5% ROA and less than or closer to one-time book. So I think these are the 2 banks basically we have sort of evaluating.
Nishchal, thanks very much. Good speaking with you. Appreciate you joining in with those specific names.